Oh, good afternoon. Just a quick review here of a box of figures that I recently picked up. They're the newly released Strelets British Infantry in Advance from 1701 to 1704. The usual photoshopped box, which I presume some of those guys are probably designers and people who work at Strelets have got themselves in the picture. Um, I haven't actually gone very much into Marlborough or the that period of history or the British Army at that time, but always on the lookout for something new. I was actually, I am actually working on my Burgundians at the moment from the Renaissance period to go with the Swiss, which I did. But I will at least look into these. I purchased Osprey guide to the period, and as I say, I thought they were worth a look. Uh, the actual figures themselves, uh, fairly well done. I think if it comes out tall there, looks like sergeants, and I mean these bear no relation to Strelets of 10 years ago when they were. I have to say, I mean, in my opinion, they were quite well. In Plastic Soldier Review's opinion, they were fairly hit or miss. Some sets were not too bad, but they weren't really up there. These ones, by contrast, I mean, you've got there's only a couple of Grenadier figures, so you would need to get several boxes to build up a Grenadier arm. They're mainly line infantry or hatmen, but they do seem really very well sculpted. Um, another another Grenadier there, and there's another set already on its way. British infantry in attack, but these, there's a lot of good detail on there, and for those of you who know about this period, I mean, this is a really good opportunity to build up some quite large armies. I believe it's going to be the start of a major issue of figures for this period. Strelets usually go into their different periods quite comprehensively, and as I say, this set has just come out. I mean, I got them on Drum and Flag, who usually gets his new stuff pretty quickly, and very nice set to possess. They come with one command set, which is good. You don't get a repetition of some unnecessary figures, but I guess you could have done with a couple more ensigns and officers, but they put one of these sprues in, mini sprue. Another ensign there, and officer or sergeant, but the long coat is very nicely picked out. I picked up the Marlborough's War or Marlborough's Army book. At least, a bit shiny there. Sorry. At least for starters, to give me some initial reference. There's some quite nice illustrations in there. These are from Angus McBride, so you know they're going to be good. You've got the Grenadier figure there with that big long frock coat, and as I say, it's a fairly nice set of figures. And although I previously didn't have any great interest in this period, I think I might be compelled to certainly paint these up. So I'm going to actually, after I've finished my Burgundians, I shall make a start on these. I'm sticking with the 172nd at the moment. I hope to possibly get up to Warfare at Reading. I think it's the evening of 15th, 16th, sorry, the weekend of 15th, 16th November or thereabouts, and I'll have a look at what's up there then. But at the moment, I'm getting all my stuff through the internet and going with 1/72, which has taken my fancy for quite a while now. And so the 28mm Perry's and Warlord games, although I've collected extensively in those periods and painted, at the moment I'm really looking at these plastic figures, which I don't, you know, I sort of, it's a bit tedious, the preparing them. In some cases the flash is terrible. I mean, some of the Mars company, I've got a Burgundian ordnance set from Mars, and wow, I've only just finished cutting the wagon wheels out of the plastic sprue. It was, you know, barely properly defined in the plastic sprue. It was just a blob with a sort of a wagon wheel in the middle there, and but I guess it's what you do with them in the end. If you can get them looking half decent. The actual, on the back of the Mars set, there was some pictures of the finished figures, and they didn't look that great, and you presume somewhat of an expert has painted those, so they are crude by comparison. There's no two ways about it, but it's what I needed at the time and was unavailable elsewhere. But as I say, gonna give these a go for now, and I shall update you if I get any more sets. There's a number of sets there that I picked up over the years, which I'd like to show, which have now gone off the radar somewhat. And you know, this is the beauty of collecting. If you pick carefully, you happen to get figures that very quickly go out of stock and are not sold again, and they become somewhat collectible in a small way. And it's just nice to have something that's fairly rare. I've got a couple of sets of figures. It's not really a wargaming subject, but the Roman Senate, which is actually a lovely set, very well made. But as I say, limited practical use. But I collect them anyway, so I'll probably never even get around to painting them. But some of the Spartacus sets or the ancient Christians, they're all fairly unusual. Their runs don't usually last too long, and you look around, and if you thought about it, you're suddenly struggling to find a company who've got any in stock. And as I say, some of the subjects are fairly rare. I got a couple of sets of Space War craft in 1/72 a little while ago, and I'll show them, because they're very unusual. The artwork is very 1950s, and it's a nice set to have. But anyway, waffling on a bit now, and hope you're all well, and thank you for all your kind words, and see you again later.